what's up, guys? This is Marseille, aka the Property Pastor, here with Kingdom Legacy Builders, where our mission is to help everyday people like you and me to build a lasting legacy for their children and their children's children using real estate investing and wealth building principles. Today, I want to be talking all about my portfolio review for the month of July. I'm a little bit late posting this month. I've been on vacation, kind of hanging out with the family, making memories, doing all that good stuff. But I wanted to post what I actually was able to do in the month of July, give you my actual numbers in this series called My Journey to Financial Freedom, My Journey to Financial Independence. So every single month, I'm going to be talking about what went good, what went bad, how my portfolio actually performed. But before we get started, before I give you the actual numbers, before I show you what I've got going on in the rehab arena, what I've got going on in private money, how my portfolio actually did, I want to remind you guys to make sure that you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. By doing so, you're going to get keyed into all the great content that I'm putting out every single week, and also somebody else is going to be able to take advantage of this video. So if this video has been a blessing to you, if you're enjoying that content and you haven't done so, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. So take a second, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and even hit that share button to share this with somebody else who needs to hear. All right, so in the month of July, to be honest with you guys, July was not the greatest month financially. I took a couple of L's this month on my portfolio. I had a major rehab in one of my quadplex units, but that happens. That's a part of the business. You know, that's the reason that I put aside money every single month for emergencies, for capital expenditures and things like that. But total this month, in the month of July, I earned a little over $16,000, $16,287 in rent. So rental income for the month of July was $16,287. Now that seems like a lot of money, but once you start subtracting property management, you subtract all your mortgages, you subtract all your normal fixed expenses and your variable expenses. And I had a huge hit this month, and like I mentioned in my quadplex, we had a rotted out beam underneath the house. We had a whole bunch of water damage, pipes burst, things of that nature. It cost me $6,000 to get it fixed. So overall, across my portfolio, I've got 12 properties across my portfolio. In spite of earning $16,287, my expenses for the month of July were $17,929. So again, that $6,000 really drug down the portfolio in the month of July, and it was painful, y'all. It hurt to write that big check. But I've been saving that money up every single month, setting aside reserves for it, things of that nature. The truth is, you are going to have the AC go out. You're going to have, major water damage. You're going to have pipes burst. You're going to have issues in your portfolio, and that's what I had this month. So I actually lost $1,600 overall. So $1,642 was a negative cash flow month for me. But that's okay. We don't sweat it. We keep on moving forward. So pro forma, right? I'm supposed to earn about $5,000 a month. So if I'm fully occupied, which you usually aren't, right? So in my portfolio, I've actually got 30 doors, right? But overall, pretty much everything was full. But that major repair really cost in the month of July. But we're going to bounce back next month, in August, and it'll be a great month again. One other thing going on this month is that I've got two rehabs active this month. So right now in my portfolio, I have two properties that I'm currently rehabbing. So right now those are not generating income. So once those start to generate income, the rehabs are finished, right? That'll be another, hopefully another $350 per property, so about another $700 in positive cash flow coming in. So right now on the rehab side, I've got two properties in the rehab phase, and one of them will be done in the month of August. So in August, we'll actually see one of them turned around. I'm actually going to do a seller finance on those properties, so I won't really have to be the landlord there. Positive cash flow on that one, and then the second one will probably be done in September, October timeframe. So I'm really excited about those because right now I'm actually paying money for contractors. I'm paying money for holding costs and all those things that come. And that property is not necessarily bringing in money, but it will in the next few months. Now, in the month of July, I did add another property to my portfolio as well. So this was my first out-of-state deal. Down in North Carolina, I purchased a property. It's a single-family home, and that property is going to generate another $300 to $350 in income. So I bought it around the middle of the month. I paid cash for it, so I'll be refinancing that in the next couple of months. But that property was an added benefit to the portfolio, so I was able to grow from 11 to 12 properties. All right, so on the private money side, so typically one thing that I always tell people is that every investor eventually runs out of money. Your own funds will run out, so you got to learn how to use OPM, other people's money. So this month I was able to add two new lenders in the form of $70,000. So I was able to add $70,000 in private money from two sources. The first source was $40,000, and it actually was a seller, a person that I bought a fourplex on. Believe it or not, the one that I just dropped $6,000 on to do a repair. But in terms of that, when we did the refinance on that property after the balloon came up, I was able to convince that seller to turn around and loan me some of those proceeds back. So that seller, I owed him one. He basically wants to refinance. His cash out price was 150 grand. So he looked at what he had and I said, hey, why don't you be the bank? So he turned around and loaned me $40,000 back. So that was really cool because not only did I get another property, but I also got another lender, right? So 40,000 there, and then in addition, I have another private money source that loaned me 30,000 from a self-directed IRA. So with that 70,000, I can keep growing. I can keep buying new properties. I can keep financing new deals, either as a cash buyer for a down payment or rehab, right? So those funds are available for future growth. Now let's talk about what I have in the pipeline, right? Because you got to keep your deal pipeline steady and active. Now, I'm not really doing a whole lot in the on-market space or through the MLS or multiple listing service. Most of my deals are coming from off-market sources, and this can be from wholesalers. So I constantly have wholesalers sending me deals. The single-family house I bought in North Carolina was from a wholesaler, but then also through relationships. So in my portfolio, anytime I buy a house, I always ask the person, do they have other houses? So I'm actively negotiating right now for a 2-property portfolio. It's cool because the houses are actually right beside each other. So I like to call it buying the block. So I'm looking at 2 properties. One is a triplex and one is a 9-bedroom college rental, where basically they rent the individual rooms out to college students in the bathrooms and suites and so on and so forth. That is a very good cash flowing property. But it's, this particular portfolio is more expensive than anything I've ever bought. So they want $450,000 for it. I'm negotiating for that. And y'all pray for me, pray for your boy that I will able to be able to secure that property, because if all the numbers work out, it will net at least $2,000 of positive cash flow. Now, my goal at a minimum is to get $10,000 of positive cash flow net every single month. I set a big goal this year to be at 9,000. And right now I'm around 5. So if I get this other deal, that'll put me around 7. So y'all pray for me that, because I set a really big goal, and I believe in God that I can actually achieve it this year. So we're right around August, so I got a little bit more work to do. But I am actively negotiating that deal. So hopefully in the month of August, early September, we'll be able to close on that one and add that additional cash flow to the portfolio. All right, so in the month of August, I got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of things I'm focused on, some goals that I've set in the month of August. But the very first thing, one of the things I want to do is actually refinance 3 of my properties. So in that, what I'm trying to do is just free up some additional cash, and I'm trying to take advantage of some of the really good rates that are out on the market. So I do have a few properties that I can refinance. One of them has a really bad interest rate. It's like 7.5%. Another one of them only has like a 5-year term on it. It's basically amortized over 25 years, but it has to be renewed every 5 years. And every time you have to renew a loan, you got to pay more money. You're kind of subject to the rates. So I do have a new lender that I'm working with that has great rates, 30-year loans. So I can do a lot of good stuff there. So I'm actually looking at 3 different properties in my portfolio to do a refinance on. So hopefully I can pull out maybe about 60 grand or so, 60 or 70 grand, and put that back to use. And then also get some really good, rock solid, long-term financing. So you always want to get financing for long-term and the lowest rate. So I've got an opportunity to do that. So I'm going to try to take advantage of that. On top of that, though, I do have some vacancies that are coming up. So I know I've got some leases coming up. Some folks have put in a few notices. So my property manager will be working hard to fill our vacancies back up. So one of the things about as an investor, you plan for a vacancy, right? But we want to make sure we get our units turned around quickly. Fortunately, things are kind of happening in the summertime. So if you're going to be vacant, I prefer it to be in the summertime. That's when people like to move. Stuff's green outside, flowers are blooming, all that kind of good stuff. Folks don't really like to move in the dead of winter. So we really want to get some of those vacancies filled up. I did mention earlier that I've got a rehab that's going to be finishing up. Matter of fact, this week I'm going to do the final walkthrough on that rehab. So I want to find a tenant buyer for that property. right? So we're going to be advertising. I'm going to be, actively screening folks, doing background checks, verifying income, all of that kind of stuff, and putting a great tenant into a property who's actually going to be what we call a tenant buyer. So a tenant buyer is somebody who's actually buying the house, and I'm going to be the bank. So that's a good thing about it. So I'm looking forward to getting that done, but that'll be a big priority. And then lastly, like I mentioned earlier, I'm looking at buying the block, right? So I got 2 properties I'm negotiating on. So we're trying to get all of that squared away. And the really cool part about this deal, and like I said, y'all pray for me. So hopefully you got to be praying for me. The good part about this deal is that the same owner has a 20-unit apartment complex, right? So I have been, really just praying and believing that that's also going to be something I'm going to be able to acquire early part of next year and have my first apartment complex as I scale my portfolio. So those 2 properties are a gateway to the apartment complex. So y'all be praying for me that all works out. I know it is. I'm trusting that it is gonna work out. Like my shirt says, God is dope. God can do it. And I believe. So we're gonna keep on working. We're gonna work the numbers. We're gonna keep on growing, keep pushing, keep chasing the goals, and keep working at it. And allow that portfolio to keep growing. So I am almost, matter of fact, September will be my 4-year anniversary as a real estate investor. So 4 years in, right, I've acquired 12 properties, on pace to pick up, at least 2 more in the next few months. And then hopefully after that, I'd love to end the year somewhere in the 15 range. So that's what my goals are. That's what I'm chasing after constantly every single day, learning, growing, making offers on deals, keeping the eyes open, and continuing to refine the skill set. So again, this month wasn't the greatest month from a financial performance perspective. Overall, this year though, I'm doing well, continuing to grow, continue to reinvest every dollar into the business. I'm still living life as a full-time, father, working a full-time job, also a pastor, and then an investor as well. So if I can do it, I tell you these things to let you know that if I can do it, you can do it. And I want to encourage you. So I hope this has been beneficial to you. I hope it's been a blessing. Hey, if you got questions, you got comments, make sure you drop them in the comment section. Make sure you drop your questions. I actually do videos when I get certain questions. I'll do a whole video on some of the questions that I get. So you got questions, drop them in the comment section. And if you haven't done so, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to the Property Pastors channel. Every month I'm bringing, an update on my portfolio. Every single week I'm giving new educational videos, walkthroughs, guides, answering your questions, helping you along your journey. I'm your virtual mentor. It's been my pleasure to hang out with you today. Thanks again for tuning in. God bless. Can't wait to see you again soon.